Welcome to our video on differentiated instruction. There are 6 dimensions of differentiation to think about: content, activities, product, readiness, interest, and the topic of this brief overview, learning profile. Learning profile refers to preferred modes of learning or ways in which students will best process what they need to learn. Learning profile is shaped by learning style, intelligence preferences, gender, and culture. To give you a better understanding of these 4 aspects of learning profile, we're going to go through them looking at a typical high school student. Drum roll please. This student's name is Romeo Montague. Now, learning style is a preferred contextual approach to learning. Learning styles include working alone or with a partner in a quiet place, or with music playing in a bright room or a darkened environment while sitting still or moving around. Now, our friend Romeo is a social learner. He loves hanging out with his friends, talking about ideas, talking about what's important to himself. He's also a little bit aloof. He likes to spend time with big ideas, pondering life's intricacies, especially love, and he loves to read poetry. Also, every once in a while, he'll go to an adult whom he respects and get a little bit of advice from that person. Intelligence preference, a hardwired or neurologically shaped preference for learning or thinking. For example, intelligence preferences include verbal linguistic, logical mathematical, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, musical rhythmic, spatial, analytical, practical, and creative. Now, Romeo is a bright young man who shows strengths in lots of different kinds of preferences. He loves to read. He's got a very strong verbal linguistic preference. He is also a really active boy. He is physical. He loves swordplay. He loves climbing. He loves swinging from branches. He loves to run around. He also enjoys music. Listening to music and playing it with his friends is something he really enjoys. Now, you could argue that he's not the most logical person in the world, but nobody's perfect. Gender. Approaches to learning that may be shaped genetically or socially for males versus females. Why not all males or females learn in the same way? There are gender-based patterns of learning, and it may be advantageous to utilize teaching and learning options that reflect a range of gender-based preferences while we continue to enhance our understanding of ways in which gender and learning are interrelated. Yes, Romeo is a boy. It is a biological fact, and there are probably a lot of other biological facts that are working on this particular person. In addition to viewing the world through the lens of being a male and following the scripts that he thinks men are supposed to follow, Romeo also seems to be depressed sometimes. He's very aloof. He's very melancholy. He's been observed crying all by himself early in the morning. Culture. Approaches to learning that may be strongly shaped by the context in which an individual lives and by the unique ways in which people in that context make sense of and live their lives. For example, how people communicate, relate to one another across generations, envision power structures, celebrate and mourn, and show respect are shaped by culture. As they do between genders, patterns of learning vary somewhat across cultures, but it's not the case that all individuals from a given culture approach learning the same way. Romeo has a unique cultural identity. He's Italian and he's nobility. He's been raised with a lot of privileges that other boys don't have. But he's also been raised to value honor, family honor, and the honor that he shares with his friendship. And sometimes he'll turn to violence when that honor is challenged. He also has strong feelings about marriage. Marriage is the natural consequence of falling in love, and he really, really believes in the power of love. He believes that he must serve love. He believes that when he finds someone and he falls in love with that person, he has to follow through, no matter what the risks. He also has a lot of respect for the adults in his community, and while he's motivated to share ideas with many of them, he's also motivated to keep secrets because he's worried about how his decisions and how his risks are going to be judged by his family, especially his parents. There you have it, an overview of the 4 elements of a student's learning profile and how the interactions between them affect a student. In this case, it's poor Romeo, whose teachers were not able to control his impulsivity and his antisocial behavior. However, if a teacher understands learning profile, it should be able to help the teacher assess and respond to the student's needs in the classroom. It leads to an efficiency of learning and hopefully success. This is one of the cornerstones of differentiated instruction, an understanding of learner profile.